Hey, so do you feel triggered by the concept of authentic self? Does that idea just seem to set you into this tizzy? I know when I first started on my spiritual journey, I did not have a clue what that meant. So when people would say, well, you're not being your authentic self, you need to be your authentic self, da 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 da, I would get so frustrated. And part of that was because I've always treasured being who I am. I am who I am. Okay, people have even told me that, like, you guys just are who you are in this setting, that setting, whatever. You don't put on airs. You just are who you are. And that's true. To me, that's authentic being me. That's just being authentic. I'm not put on airs. I'm not fake. So if people would tell me I'm not being my authentic self, it seemed very confusing in my spiritual journey. Like I said, very triggering. Like, what do you mean I'm not being my authentic self? You don't know who I am, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, if it comes to find out what your authentic self is so deep that most of us are struggling to figure out who she is for a very long time. And I think that even myself into this, and I would say that I'm very close, I'm getting there. I know that there could be another trauma, another conditioning, another layer that I need to unfold to get even closer to my authentic self. So, what is your authentic self? How do I define it? Because other people probably define it differently. And here's the thing, the authentic self is that person you are, that amazing woman you are, without the traumas, without the painful childhood memories, without the, I don't know, just all the conditions and what we should do's and everything else. So the person that is so deeply buried in most of us until we go on this really deep spiritual guide journey, awakening, that we don't know who she is. And I will tell you, even as I tell you, I'm still figuring it out and finding it and discovering it. I have to do that sometimes with help because our thoughts seem so normal. They seem like that is what it is and that's who it is. And everything that we are thinking is just normal. It's real. That's who we think we are. Yet when we work with someone, sometimes they're like, well, no, that's a limiting belief. That's just something you're being told, telling yourself that's X. And until that happens, either through meditation, through revelation, through like revealing itself because you're working on it, or working with someone, we live in that world and we think that is normal. Um, let me an example that comes to mind. A little boy who's very young and has really deep emotions can then start hiding those emotions because boys don't cry. They go to school. They get picked on because they're sensitive around things. So all of a sudden they start toughening up. I say that even with, let's do a girl example. A little girl who's very open and trusting, very out there wanting to please people in a natural way can, two things here. First off, goes to school and starts getting taken advantage of. People start really hurting her for her people pleasing, her wanting to make others happy. And so she stops doing that. Another little girl, same thing, very natural to her, caring, water sign, emotions, all of that, and starts figuring out that only when she's overly people pleasing does she get the attention that she wants. Does she feel that love? So both of these women become slightly off from who they're meant to be. Yes, we can say, well, that's growing up, that's becoming natural, that's part of the process. And it is part of the process until we start hiding who we naturally are or what we naturally want. And so that's the thing. We grow and say, oh, well, that's just who I am now. That's I'm growing. But the authentic part of you wants to share those big emotions, wants to be able to cry, wants to be able to please people, but not be taken advantage of, not people please in a way that doesn't then become your worth. This is my value. This is when you become authentic, that this has nothing to do with my value. This is just who I am as a natural person. That's when you can start going to that authentic self. That's when you start stepping back. So I will encourage all of you and reach out. I feel like this is just part of becoming part of the mission that I'm on is how do we become authentic? I mean, I really, again, back to this when it first started on my spiritual journey, and people would tell me, you're not authentic, you're not being authentic. I was so triggered because nobody was telling me how to become. So you're telling me I'm not something, but you're not telling me how to be it. And the process of how you become authentic isn't simple, but I will say this. Ask yourself why you're doing it. Is this because it's how you think it's supposed to be? Is this how you feel like it's being done? And then ask yourself, what if you chose a different way? What would you choose? What would you feel? How would you do it if you were given a blank canvas? And that's just one way to start getting back to how you want to be. Um, Another way is just ask. Ask your spirit team that's all around you at all times to give you signs. Is this what I want to do, or is this a conditioning? This is something I think I should do. And then there's that one. If you start doing things because you should do them, then know that you're probably straying from what you want to do. And what you want to do is more authentic. And even if it's little steps, we take a step towards this is what I want to do because I want to do it, not because I should do this, but I want to do that. That's a step towards being authentic. And I hope that helps. I hope that just being talking about this conversation of what is authentic um, becomes something that's normalized. And if you have questions, let me know. I'm here. And if you want to offer, like, set up something to have just a quick conversation, no sales pitch, leave me a comment. If you want to discover and talk about how you need to step into being more authentic, let's have a quick conversation. And for those of you who don't know me, I am Michelle, your intuitive harmony warrior, really on a mission for myself and for those in my life to create harmony from within. And as I say it, I'll keep saying it. When you have harmony, you create more harmony around you. When you have craziness inside and you're all upset, you create that around you. So choose what you want for you, and that's how you're going to change the world.